right, we got Michael Johnson in the house today. Michael, how are you? Michael and I met about a month and a half ago in Dallas, and we had a really interesting conversation. I wanted to bring some of his expertise in the marketing agency niche and the automation CRM, and then also in buying and selling businesses and looking at how you can acquire a business for yourself, even a marketing agency. So, very interesting conversation lined up for you guys today. Michael, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Thank you so much for having me. Super excited to be here. Obviously, a big supporter of RepStack. You guys are awesome. You guys do damage and you execute. Love it.
Thanks, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what your journey has been up until this point.
Yeah, great question. To keep this light-winded, an elevator pitch here. I was born and raised in South Africa. I lived there for 10 years, England for 5, and then I've been in the US for almost 18 years. I came on a baseball scholarship, went to school, played independent ball, played around the world a little bit, some international stuff, and then ended up going back to school, get my MBA, got married, started an agency. I was working several jobs, and then I was like, I need to just break off and kind of do my own thing. So I started an agency. That was going pretty good, and then COVID came and kind of crushed me. I didn't really pivot that well, to be honest, looking back at it. I jumped to something more part full time, got a head of kid coming, and then I needed something that to make sure to pay the bills. And jumped in with a CRM company and never turned back and loved my job. And now kind of in a different realm in acquisition a little bit, but bring a lot of the tools and aspects that I do in my day to day into this market. And I'm really trying to shake it up.
So, you're still working for yourself as an entrepreneur?
This is more owner absentee, kind of what I'm doing. So not, I wouldn't say that I haven't neglected my daily duties. I still take those with pride and I do everything to my full ability. So yes, I have not, well, let me say no, I have not broken away per se, but I am looking for ways to work smarter, not harder. And I think with this AI boom and just the ability of CRMs and automations, how fast they move, there's a lot of opportunity to make that happen.
Yeah, I agree, man. That sounds like a very interesting career, and now you're in acquisitions and you're looking for businesses. And I think let's lead into our three more questions segment. And my first question to you, um, Michael, is how can you buy a business today using SBA loans? Because this has been something that we've been researching. It's like, I don't know, it's like a unicorn. Like it's so hard. Like it's seems like everyone's getting it left, right, and center, but it's hard, so hard. So tell me a little bit about like how can small businesses use SBA loans to acquire businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's several programs you can jump into. I'm by no at all an expertise in this. It's just a lot of research I've taken in. So I'm just regurgitating that. There's a bunch of SBA loans you can dive in, 7As and so forth, depending on what industry. You're limited up to like 5 million per niche or vertical. I mean, you can go into multiple verticals if you wanted to. So verticals being marketing agencies, accounting businesses. What kind of spun me around to this is we have a lot of boomers retiring. And I know you've probably seen a lot of Instagram videos and stuff like that popping up, but there is actually truth to that. Sometimes they don't have people to hand it down, or sometimes there is somebody that's capable of doing it, but they need the capital, and you can bring the capital and form a partnership with that person. So the bank's more likely to turn around and say, yes, we'll back you, especially if somebody's been working there for several years and you're basically just behind them. So there's many ways to acquire partnerships. That's kind of what I did. I have actually the guy that sold me solar is my business partner and my wife as well. So we kind of went into three-way there. There's crowdfunding, seller financing. So seller financing is the ability to say, hey, Mr. Business Owner, I'm gonna do a seller note with you and I will pay you back in 2 years from now and a percentage per month. So it gives you 2 years to really get going. And then you can pay back a percentage. So usually they'll only cap you out, I think at, I don't know the exact number here. I wanna say around 20%. You can't go higher than 20% on a seller note. Otherwise they have to be on the actual business, but you can also add them as an equity advisor and give them 1% in perpetuity. So they basically just sit on the board, you pay them, and they can have a little bit more, and they have a longer seller note. So there's different routes in going into. The seller financing is kind of route we went. So we did a seller financing, but we brought the business partner in as well, and we kind of just pay them starting about 6 months out from now. You can do personal loans, you can do investors. So if you have some friends that have money and they're just sitting on it, not everybody has those friends, obviously, but if you do, they're always looking for ways to invest. They could kind of take a back seat, give you the money and you kind of run with it. Business grants and business credit cards. So no matter which way you look at it, there's a little bit of risk in this. I do advise getting a good lawyer and a good analyst, merger and acquisition analyst, and that's kind of the realm we kind of went. It's an exciting thing. It's You have
And
to
is
go
there
out
a
there.
platform where these businesses or marketing
Yeah.
agencies, for example, if I want to buy an agency, where would these businesses be listed?
Yep. The biggest one in the world is bizbuysell.com. That's a lot of, that's most of the time you'll see on there, but I would recommend before you start looking, I mean, look and start getting familiar with the terminology, looking at multipliers. So multipliers, like the further away the business owner is from the actual business, the higher the multiple, which means it's kind of hands off owner absentee. That's kind of the route we went.
Oh. And
And
that's what you
then,
want, right?
yeah, that's exactly what you want. And as a business owner yourself, as a marketing agency, the further away you can get away from the business and really just focus on the strategy side instead of the actual day to day, then you're start
Yeah.
looking at, yeah, you're really looking at some good multipliers. So you're looking anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5%. When you get to the 5%, those are usually because they're owner operator. So you got to be
Hmm.
very careful on that side of it too. So there's a bunch of nuances to it, but BizBuy is a good resource to just get your feet wet. I would say
So
get
your
pre-approved
basically
through the
rule of
bank.
thumb is that you're looking for a business which the owner is as far away from the operations, day-to-day operations as possible, and the business is basically running itself.
Yep. Hence automation, AI.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
there's definitely
that's the
opportunity.
stuff that you're gonna bring in now, right? And try to enhance all of that stuff.
Yeah, we got very lucky. This business didn't even have a business Google My Business profile. I had a website that had like zero traffic. They did no advertising. It was all referrals, and I had an 18-year book of business. So for us, it was like a no-brainer, and it was in our backyard. So we're familiar with the
Hmm.
areas, we're familiar with the people, and our employees
Which
are
which part of the
W-2
world are you in right now?
in Jacksonville, Florida.
Nice, man. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like a perfect thing to do. Looks like a great thing that we're not looking at with the expertise we have in our marketing businesses. We can go into a lot of these businesses that are hands off, turn them around. Maybe, I don't know, what's the plan? Are you gonna sell it, keep it, just grow it?
Yeah, that's a great question. My wife and I and our partner always talk about that. It's kind of a position of where we are. We'll just take it day by day, but I'd like to cannibalize the market. I'd like to roll up a bunch of other businesses underneath me. We're gonna do a little bit different than everyone else. It's kind of a saturated market. It's kind of a low barrier to entry, to be honest. So if you think
Hmm.
about it, it doesn't take much. A lot of people use 1099 contractors. We have W-2 employees. You can't tell a 1099 contractor how to do their job, where W-2 we can coach them and teach them. So there's
And you have
elements that
four
are,
employees right now, right?
yeah, 4 employees right now, 3 vehicles, and then yeah, recurring business every month. So we got lucky. I think we have a 2.5, 2.6 month payback period on the business itself, and
Hmm.
it's
That's
mostly owner
awesome, man.
absentee. Yeah,
That's fantastic. Looks like great questions. And now I want to lead into when we're talking about people or employees, what role did culture play in your decision making on buying this new business?
yeah, great question. So anytime you go in to buy a business, I would always recommend meeting with the team. One, you want to get a good feel of who they are. You want to ask the current owner who the key men are, and you want to make sure you don't lose. Those people carry the wealth and knowledge of any business, and you probably have a couple of those with you that you have pretty close. You don't want to lose them, and we just got to take care of those people. So culture is a big thing. Making sure that the transition is smooth and easy, and for the first 90 days, don't change anything drastic. Like keep it small and simple, but if not, try not to change anything for the first 90 days. You want to make sure that the transition is smooth and you're actually learning the business and finding the opportunities. So that's a big thing for us. The previous owner that bought it, he only sold it 6 months ago. So that's usually a red flag. I ended up meeting him. He works for a big sports memorabilia facility. He just got a promotion and he has another kid coming. And he's like, it's just a lot for me because there's a lot of managing on the back end that he wasn't quite ready for in terms of that. But we're able to spread the workload between three of us, and it really doesn't
Hmm.
take much time. It's just scheduling and payroll is right now as it is, and we haven't done anything to it per se just yet. But we're working on implementing the rebrand and going at it.
Amazing, man. That's fantastic. I think that's the right way to go. And people. So this is a genuine reason over here. So sometimes when you see that gut feeling, that might not be right because that's what we've been trained to look a little bit deeper, ask questions. And in this case, you were able to find a great business. In other cases, it would have been a red case. So I love that point. Give people a chance. All right. What
Absolutely.
are your thoughts on reputation management? Like, is that I think like in a business like that you just acquire, you're gonna have to do something substantial there because I think that would be the key. Like, who's ranked higher on how many reviews you have as a cleaning business. I'm assuming it's going to matter a lot.
If you really think deep down to the psychology of this, it's a very intimate process having somebody in your house, right? Like some people, when just for example, I don't want to get to the worst case scenario, but if someone was to break into your house, you'd always have that feeling of uncertainty, right? It's the same concept if somebody was to come in and clean your house. You want to make sure that they're trustworthy. There's a lot of boxes to tick in terms of just inviting someone in your home. So yes, I think reputation management is a big factor of this, and I think a lot of this is word of mouth. So it's kind of a traditional old school marketing. You're
Hmm.
most likely to buy something your neighbor advises. Just talk to your neighbor and they talk about, hey, I like this and this. Like, oh, that's really cool. I see you doing that. How much is that? How does it work? And that's kind of the concept that in round we're looking at when we address the marketing aspect of it. We want to get in with the customers that have been here for a long time, and there's a reason they've stuck with us. We don't churn and burn our employees. Like I said, we're W-2, so we really try to get into that realm like human capital.
Mm.
Like they are the biggest asset to your business, but they're also the biggest cost. So those will go hand in hand. You can go cheap on the labor, but you can have high turnover on the customers, or you can go good on the
Is the
labor.
rating is the rating of this business is where you like it to be, or you got a goal of upgrading it over the next 6 months to a year?
Yep. So yeah, sorry, I digressed there. To get back in the reputation side, they don't even have a Google My Business profile. They've been using an app that has internal reviews, and they have over like 600 reviews and they're sitting around 4.8%. So it is there,
Nice.
but it doesn't carry the weight of Google My Business and SEO. There's a lot of cool tricks and tips and tricks. I'm not a Google My Business expert, but per se, but anytime someone searches your business if you have a brick and mortar business, and every time someone searches on it, if Google sees a lot of traffic going to their business, it's like, hey, they must be doing something right. If they see a lot of
Mm.
reviews and you respond in a timely manner, hey, they must be doing something right. So a lot of those elements do come into play, and I do think that is probably one of the next big pivotal keys for us is getting in Google My Reviews, integrating some of their LSA ads, and kind of getting involved in that side. But we first want to build a foundation that's scalable, but reputation is a big factor that's going to drive this.
Yeah, I think GHL might be a good solution over here for you guys. Just start out there and build that out. Who knows, you might be building out a agency for cleaning companies and do the SaaS part, right? That's obviously out there.
Yeah,
Uh,
we'll see how that goes. Might be a conflict of interest.
yeah, for sure. Okay, let's move to our rapid fire round. I'm gonna give you some ideas. I want to hear you riff about them. Number one, opportunities in business acquisitions.
They're everywhere. Get on Biz Buy Sell, get involved, get pre-approved. Do work with the bank when you put letters out of intent. It doesn't mean you're solidifying that deal. It's just let them know, hey, I'm interested in buying your business. I'm willing to come in at this. Yeah, the opportunity's there. I think if you dig deep enough and you put enough sweat grid, call people, get on the phone, don't be shy. Keep tracking spreadsheets if you need
Love
to
it.
start with some basic stuff.
Here's another one, and maybe it's a lot of people think differently about this, but going into business with your family, because
Mm.
I work with my brothers, and I know you work with your spouse. So, what's your take on that?
Yeah, there's an interesting dynamic. It's interesting when you think about it. Like I always pivot back to like if you're on a holiday or with for example Thanksgiving or a dinner with your family. It's hard sitting next to somebody when you know they let them down. So I think having the family member is a good aspect for it, and you don't have to worry too much about them running off. And in a way, it's like raising each other up. So I do think there's a lot of pros, but there's also some cons to it. I think loaning money is an interesting fact versus working with somebody. Um, so those are different elements. I think there is a lot to say around that topic. I wouldn't say I'm an expert, and I'm always learning. Me and my wife, we just had a conversation today. It didn't go as well as we wanted to, but it's like, hey,
Definitely a do, right? You gotta do
that's a
it.
do. Definitely a do.
Yeah, I have the same experience, man. And what are your top three favorite books?
Ooh, that's a good one. So I'm on the Audible side. I really like the Lean
Me too.
Startup. So I listen to a lot of
Okay.
Audibles. I like to read, but I'm not that. I always get distracted. I'm ADHD, so I'm jumping around as you can tell. I really like The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. It's a different kind of spin on life itself. It's about just being in the moment and absorbing it and then applying the same business practices in that moment. It's a different way of thinking. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around it. I'm not gonna lie. I usually listen to it when I walk with my dogs and kids. And it's just something in the back of my head I'm always like thinking about and I'm making it present. Like I'm always want to be present. There's a lot of times
Hmm.
you just don't check in. And it's those
Hmm.
moments where like the small moments with the kids or the small moments where you just used to walk down the same road, but you never noticed that tree in a different way. Like it's kind of a philosophical book. It's a different way of thinking, but it's something that opened up my mind. And The Profit First by Smuckowitz. I like the
Yeah.
principles. It's a kind of a hard, it's kind of a very, there's financial aspects to it that you would need to have a business to go through it. So I was listening to it before I bought the business and now I'm in. I use their bank and I'm not an affiliate or any by nature. It's called Relay FI and it gives you the ability to distribute. So you'll have one master account and then you can say 35% operating cost, 25, what, 35% operating cost, 10% to owners payout, and then you can do business development and it automatically does it for you. So every day I wake up, whatever's in the main account gets distributed. I keep a minimum balance and it keeps me on task. So it's good for me to keep a track of where I'm at and what I'm looking for. And it gives me a goal. Like I need to get this account to this amount, but I don't need to do this much. From a fiscal perspective, it gives me a good thing. So that's another one. And then kind of controversial, but The Subtle Art of Not Giving It, FUCK, is a good book
Yeah.
as well. It's like getting, sometimes you just got to get it your own way and stop feeling sorry for yourself and just get after it. Because at the end of the day, you're the only one that can save yourself.
I love it, man. Those are great
Yeah.
books. I haven't checked out two of those. I'll definitely be checking them out. And yeah, learning's everywhere. That's what you gotta keep doing. Looks like you're an avid learner. Michael, hey, thanks for doing this, man. I really appreciate your time. And we'll see you next time in Dallas. Are
Yes,
you
sir.
coming?
Yeah, I'm gonna be there.